Then he went, Donald Trump, yeah, Donald Trump. I love Donald Trump, but no more drop box. The drop boxes are just so bad. No more drop boxes. Dickinson, Hologic, and Cephahide. That was about a guy named, a rhino named Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney, real beauty. Had to give the American people their voice back by building something called Truth Central. He voted against Kate's law, and he voted for Obama amnesty. You know, we've endorsed Dr. Oz. We've endorsed JP, right? J.D. Mandel, and he's doing great. I've had more investigations than Jesse James, Billy the Could. Some of the world's greatest cricket players, from Sachin Tendulkar to Virat Kohli. As the great religious teacher Swami Vivekananda once said. I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation, the beginnings of that investigation. And God bless the United States. Thank you very much. He was awarded the Bronze Star and the Combat Infantryman Badge for his service. We have to keep our country gay, but it's not, I mean, for some reason, it's just not great anymore. If you care about law and order, look, law and order. In normal times, roughly 40% of fresh vegetables and about 40% China. Nambia's health system is increasingly self-sufficient. This is not about virtue, cycling and signing. And the great General and President Ulysses S. Grant, he's really come back a long way over the last 10 years, hasn't he? We appreciate it very much, Tim Apple. When they gaze upon Yosemite's towering sequoias, they delivered a swift and sweeping, you know that sweeping, it was swift and it was sweeping like nobody's ever seen anything happen. Units of plasma for plasma. Donate plasma. In the failing New York Times by an anonymous, gutless coward. I may ask Marilyn Lockheed, the leading woman's business. No teacher should ever be allowed to teach transgender to our children without parental consent. No, nobody has to have parental consent. And we will totally oppose the Biden administration. This administration. He made some statements, rough statements on Jewish. You heard them and you know them well.
Ladies and gentlemen, do not adjust your television. It is really 2023, and for the first time in history, a president is being indicted and will face criminal charges. This is all just such great news, such great news.
I was proven even more right than I would have ever imagined, because apparently, there is actually indicting my father. So,
great orange leader. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe prayer does work.
This is like communist level shit. 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 This is like communist level shit.
Great orange leader. Dear God. God forbid, Donnie boy. God forbid, Donnie boy. Great orange leader. Dear God. God forbid, Donnie boy. God forbid, Donnie boy.
This is like communist level shit. This is like communist level shit. This is like communist level shit. This is like communist level shit.
I think that's about all we need to hear.
Trump was doing this with his personal toilet.
But sinks, toilets, and showers. Elements of bathrooms. 10 times, 15 times. Elements of bathrooms. We're looking very strongly at sinks and showers. Elements in bathrooms. 10 times, 15 times. Elements in bathrooms.
What on earth is going on with Trump and toilets? Trump's White House toilet would be clogged with documents that Donald Trump was flushing down the toilet. Is this the explanation? Is this the explanation?
Big massive dumps.
Elements in bathrooms. 10 times, 15
Trump was
times.
doing this with his personal toilet.
Elements in bathrooms.
And showers. Big massive dumps.
Elements in bathrooms. Duty. 15 times. Not me, Elements in bathrooms. God bless the United States. Thank you very much. Elements in bathrooms.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the second live stream of the day. We're live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, and we're standing by for a speech, if you can call it that, from the failed former, twice impeached, twice indicted, twice arrested president, Donald J. Trump. Donald Trump scheduled to speak at 8:15 p.m. Eastern. I will bet any amount of money anybody wants to bet me that will not happen. The reason I can tell you this is Trump's motorcade just left Newark Airport at the stroke of 8 p.m. here on the East Coast. It's a 35-minute ride. Even if they go significantly faster than the speed limit, it's going to be at least 25 minutes before they get to Bedminster. And of course, then Trump will need to do whatever ablutions he would do before a speech. And so my instinct would be, it would be a miracle, or as Mike Pillow pronounces it, a miracle, if the speech starts before 8:45. That's my instinct. But fear not. We have cameras on the ground in New Jersey. We have super chats. We have voicemails. We're going to be making some Twitch donations to some unsuspecting political streamers. And it is so great to see all of you here today. I don't even really know where to start, other than I guess we'll give a brief summary of what happened earlier. The president was indeed indicted and arrested a second time. This took place in Miami, Florida. 37 felony counts. Trump, through his attorney, entered a plea of not guilty and did not say anything. There are reports that Special Prosecutor Jack Smith stared at Trump the entire time. Trump did not even look at Special Prosecutor Jack Smith. Doesn't matter. The evidence will speak for itself. Doesn't matter where Trump looks. It's not going to make a difference at the end of the day. And then shortly after leaving the courthouse, Trump went to a Cuban restaurant where people prayed for him and screamed things, which we're going to look at in a little bit. Let's let people get acclimated and get adjusted here. Welcome to everybody who is joining us. And there are so many different and important things to discuss. Let's start with a few super chats. Bernie says, Brother Dave, seriously, what do you think it would take for the Magapotamians to ditch Trump at this point? I think at this point, they wouldn't ditch him no matter what. They would go down with the ship, even if it meant their deaths, which it won't, but what I'm saying is even that wouldn't dissuade them. Did Trump choose New Jersey because of Christie's recent CNN performance? Eric, it's a good question. It would seem natural for Trump to fly from Miami. You wouldn't even necessarily have to fly. It's like an hour for 75 minutes from Miami to Mar-a-Lago. But Trump going to Bedminster, I don't actually know the reason. Maybe somebody else does. Carrie Swanson says, thank you, David, from American who lives in Scotland. Grateful for your coverage of this process. Well, my pleasure, Carrie. It's great to see you. And Paul Edwards sending the number 47 as a super chat. It's a very deep inside joke from a recent stream, so I don't know that we need to even explain it. People who are part of the 47 crew, whatever that even means at this point, will understand the significance of that. If you're just joining, you have missed nothing as far as this second stream goes. Donald Trump is expected to speak at 8:15. It won't happen. I think it'll be 8:45. He's on his way from Newark Airport to Bedminster, and it is a 35-minute ride. So I just don't think it's going to be that soon. If you were watching our earlier stream, You may recall that we had Luke the Bee's Knees Beasley on the ground in Miami. Here was one sort of a proxy interview that Luke was able to do where I was sort of feeding questions to him. There are so many interviews that Luke was able to do with Magadonians and Magats and Magapotamians. Here is just one, just as a reminder. There will be plenty more of this on tomorrow's show. That's for damn sure. Luke, what's the scene down there?
It is pretty wild. I'm here with, what's your name?
Greg Donovan, Hollywood, California. I rode yesterday.
Awesome. And you want to describe the sights and the sounds for the audience?
Yeah, I've never seen anything like this. Supporters, as far as that, I mean, I've been to rallies, I've seen, but this is unprecedented with the media here. It's this is bigger than I've been to the Super Bowl, the World Cup, the Olympics, and the Oscars. Nothing ever like this. It's a sad day in American history. You could compare it to the assassination of Lincoln and Kennedy.
Wow.
This is how bad it is, because he's going to get a life sentence. And if you realize, and it's a double standard. They're not indicting Joe Biden when he was vice president. He has the classified documents.
Luke, can you ask this gentleman what evidence there is against Joe Biden so far?
Yeah, what evidence against Joe Biden is there so far?
Well, they have a lot of documents. I don't know what documents they have. They do say that Trump has some documents that are not considered they're top secret, but I know he's allowed to classify. He did say to declassify.
Luke, can you ask this gentleman when he says they have some documents of Biden, what documents does who have and what evidence of criminality is that?
What documents does who have and what evidence do you have to that?
They won't say anything that what Biden has. I haven't heard anything, but I've heard there's something about invading Iran.
So how does he know there's evidence of criminality if he has no idea what he has?
But if anything...
How do you know there's evidence of criminality if you're not even sure what he might have?
Exactly, I don't know. I'm not.
So then why does he want Biden indicted?
It's a double standard. That's what I'm thinking. I'm just saying, why do I think it's a double standard?
No, but I'm saying if you don't know exactly what Biden would have done wrong, then how do you know he should also be indicted like Trump?
Why don't they... why doesn't the Department of Justice go after him like they did Trump and invade his home? And anyway,
game, set, match. Okay, I think we got it. Yeah. Jesus.
All right, thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Incredibly powerful stuff, as you can see. All right, so Luke was on the ground for a while, and he's going to send me all of the material. He said he's working on putting it all together right now, so I'm hoping to get this stuff from him pretty soon. But as you can see, just absolutely wild stuff down there. And it's hard to know whether we should be laughing or crying, to be totally honest. I mean, it really is difficult to know whether laughing or crying is the right thing. Okay. There's been an adjustment as to the time that Trump is expected from 8:15 to 8:30. That makes sense. They were running late, of course, getting back to Bedminster. Let's look at some other super chats. Junie says, David, love you in the show. Do you know when the Trump Georgia case is going to trial? There's not going to be a trial unless Trump is indicted. Before you're putting the cart before the horse, Junie. The first question in the Georgia case, this is a totally separate criminal case. Remember, Trump may be arrested 3 or 4 times. First, we have to see if Trump is indicted by Fani Willis, and we will know that sometime between mid-July and early September. So we'll take it one step at a time. Haley from Maryland says, I work in a skiff. I get in trouble if I don't lock a drawer behind a locked door if there are classified documents in it. I served with Reality Winner, and I would have been charged like she did if I'd done one of Trump's actions. Of course, Haley. Of course. David, sir, your live streams of these Trump events are the only things that get me to take a break from The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Interesting stuff. Haven't heard of that game. Yabbits is supporting Pence Hung 2024. That's an explosive candidacy, more than sanctimonious. Thanks to Benevolent King for gifting 5 subscriptions on Twitch. Oh, let me mention, we have a very special coupon code today. It's Indicted Again. You all know what it means. We all know what it means. Indicted Again is the code. I want to say thank you to Jason Sickmeyer, who just signed up at joinpacman.com. By the way, I want to mention one thing. We have the possibility today. We have a possibility of having more subscribers on YouTube today than any day of the year so far. If you guys remember the day that Don Jr. went after me, that was March 29th. That's the biggest day of the year so far. We had 5,100 new YouTube subscribers on that one day. We have the potential to surpass that. And the tricky thing is, I don't know exactly where we started the day, but I think that we are relatively close. So if you're watching on YouTube and you're not currently a subscriber, just something to think about, because we may indeed get to an incredible number that very few people have even seen before. All right, Rudy Giuliani is being interviewed as Trump makes his way to Bedminster. Let's take a listen.
I heard that he went to Versailles. I just let out a yell, yay! And then about 15 minutes later, he called me. He said, you know where I was? I said, yeah, I know where you were. You were at Versailles. I said, you're really upset, really nervous, aren't you? And he started laughing. And then we started talking about golf. I mean, he's ready to go. He knows what's at stake. He's fighting this battle for us. I know that sounds corny.
Yeah.
But you know that that's the truth, Eric. You know him. You have the benefit of really knowing him well, and he likes you a lot. And you know he's fighting this battle for all of us so-called deplorables in their eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I appreciate your time. We'll really stay close to you. Thank you so much.
Sober analysis.
Thanks. Great job, as always.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's bring in Professor Emeritus from Harvard Law School, author of The Price of Principle.
Here we go.
Dershowitz. Dersh, let's talk a little bit about this. The evidence can.
Let's skip sitting through another painful quote analysis from Alan Dershowitz. We did it on the earlier stream. I don't know that I need to subject everybody to it today. Let's look at a couple of different things. Here is a completely deranged Trump supporter earlier today at the Miami courthouse. His statement really speaks for itself.
Country. The most innocent man that's ever been in the White House, Donald J. Trump. The best president we've ever had. 45/47. He's coming back. This is the longest witch hunt going on 8 years now since he came down the escalator. The guy's an American hero.
Do you believe there's a two-tier system of justice? Do you believe this is unfair?
Obviously. I don't even know how anybody can ask that with a straight face. There's obviously a two-tier justice system. Why is the Clinton crime family running wild? Why is Beijing Biden and the money laundering operation that Hunter Biden started out of Ukraine? He started the war on Ukraine 5 years ago when he was working for Burisma.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow. I would suggest decaf.
Last question. If Trump were to get reelected, should he consider a pardon for the Biden family?
Absolutely not. They're a crime family. You're either an American or a Democrat these days.
Go.
There's no way to be both.
There you go. And that is the final point there, as you can imagine. Let's see. This tweet's been deleted. We looked at this one earlier. Here's a woman completely losing her mind. Unclear whether she is having a medical event, just a radical extremist. She is holding a beer, so maybe that's a factor.
He doesn't write books. He doesn't go around the world, getting money like the Clintons, like the Obamas, that all of a sudden they're preaching communism. But look where they live. Look where the Black Lives Matter people live. They have become rich. Do you think they care about Hispanics? Do you think they care about Black Americans? No, they don't. They denigrate us. They want us to die crossing the border.
What do you think about the charges that he's facing?
The charges are nothing. Biden and the State Department, when Daniel Ortega jailed all the political opponents, was the first one to condemn that. He goes around the world preaching about democracy, about honesty. With what moral authority is doing that when he is doing exactly what is being done in Nicaragua by the...
Folks, when I held a beer once, I got arrested. So the fact that this woman held a beer could mean anything.
Sandinistas. Nothing reminds me more of the Sandinistas than the way that the Democrats are operating in this country. There's no separation of powers. They're not treating Republicans the way that they treat Democrats. If we protest for what they're doing to the children, they call us terrorists. They think we are the word terrorists. And we are passionate because I lost one nation once, and I'm not going to lose a second one. I love the United States of America. Immigrants, exiles from all over the world that have suffered, love the United States.
My guess certainly would be that this is a Cuban woman from her accent. And as many of you know, the Cuban people, in their absolutely warranted and justified rejection of the Castro regime,
have unfortunately, some have fallen for some really wacky American right-wing stuff. And I don't know how many of these Cuban right-wingers are familiar with the most famous Cuban-American streamer in the world, Stephen Kenneth Destiny Bennell Goranson II. But I would love for them to appear with him. I think that would be a really great thing. Speaking of the Cuban-American community, Donald Trump made a stop at a Cuban restaurant, and things went a little bit haywire.
What a great group of people. What a great group. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Donald. I guess it's Trump's birthday tomorrow. And then they did prayer, and it looks like there's, I don't even want to say a rabbi. There's a guy with a yarmulke, right? I don't know that that's a rabbi, but I guess these are faith leaders praying for Trump. I don't know if they're praying for Trump or if they're praying over Trump. That is Hebrew. That's Hebrew with a Spanish accent. That's fascinating. That's nostalgic for me. And now we've switched to Spanish. He's saying give him strength in his hands and in his body. Okay. Very, very, you know, that was very meaningful for Trump because Trump is deeply spiritual, as many of you know. And then Trump announcing free food for everyone. Are you ready? Are you ready? Food for everyone. Food for everyone.
I would get a credit card in advance if I was the restaurant. Wow. Powerful imagery. Extremely, extremely powerful imagery, as you all certainly... Certainly know. The world is laughing at us. The world is crying, and the world is laughing at us. I want to say thank you to Juan the Trollman, Eric Joslin, Carrie Kurt, Ryan Dempsey, David Levin, and Grant Ritchie, who all just signed up on my website. Folks, come on in. We have a coupon code, Indicted Again. I would love for you to support the work that we are all doing here to bring you the podcast, multiple streams, everything. Go to joinpacman.com, sign up. It's quick and easy. And also, please make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube. I think we're probably about 1,200. My sense is if we get to 1.74 million tonight, today will be the record for new subscribers in a single day this year. That's my sense of the situation. Donald Trump scheduled to speak 5 minutes ago, then adjusted to 10 minutes from now. I don't think we'll hear from Trump until 8:45, to be perfectly honest. I think that's more or less the way it's going to go. Clockwork Shadow says, always a joy listening to your streams, Pacman. Here's to seeing Trump behind prison bars soon. Marshall says, do you think Trump capitalizes random words because he thinks it makes his troths look like America's founding documents? Kind of ties in well with his delusions of grandeur. I don't know why Trump capitalizes random words. I really don't know. Kay Bragg says the aliens for sure ain't never going to talk to us after this. Fair. Ali Reza saying, I am saying it on behalf you. If praying did not work for students in Nashville, it is not going to work for Trump either. Tommy says, happy Indicated Day. Bay Photo says, is it really free food? He'll just pay for lunch from their campaign donations. More than likely, yeah. There's always some scam with Trump. All right, guys. Let's do this again. I have re-upped my bits, and we now have bits ready to donate to random small streamers. We're going to try some political streamers, okay? Let's try donating to some political streamers with very few views and seeing what is up with them. How about, I don't know. How about, let's see who this is. Syndicate1 has 1 viewer. Let's see what's up here.
Now to discuss these numbers is David Wessel. He's director of the Hutchins Center on Fiscal.
Let's get away from that. They They seem just to be playing clips. Let's see who's actually on screen. How about this guy? Let's see what's up with this guy. I'm the person that got Epstein's Island closed. Actually, I'm having a sort of second thoughts about that. Let's see what's up with this guy here.
Some, various information, looking at news stories, the searching through.
This seems like right-wing nuttery, so I don't want to donate to that. Man, this is genuinely tough to find reasonable things. How about Chad Mary?
Preparing those defenses, and they consist of different.
Let's try this one. Let's dump in a little donation here. Okay? Let's go to bits, and then let's do, how about $20? Keep up the great work. All right, let's see what is going on with this particular person. Here we go.
And obviously air surveillance in order to see where the Ukrainians are coming from, making it very difficult for the Ukrainians to get through all the layers of these defenses without getting stuck, which makes it very challenging for the Ukrainian side, especially because they
nonplussed right now at the $20.
Thank you so much.
Oh. Hello, guys. David Pacman and Lagos and Yarashgaru, sorry. Hello, where are you from, guys?
Do they know I donated $20?
Thanks for follows. I was just about to ask Lenny if you're dying there with this fucking orange guy or not. Oh my god, what's going on? Where are you coming from, guys? Thanks for your follow.
Can I get a refund? Meh. Listen, guys, I'm trying.
Super nice to see you.
All right. Guess you didn't notice I sent $20.
All right, let's.
All right. Let's try one more. Let's see if we can find one more. Someone with very few viewers, but do. Oh, how about this? Young black economist. Let's check this one out and see what's up.
To where you came from kind of idea. I'm like, no, we stay here. You go back.
All right, let's give it a shot.
You give the land back to the Native Americans. I'll live under their rule, and we'll be good. Okay, we be
Thanks
good.
for
You go
having
back to
me.
the indigenous people, and we be good. Like that would be. That's what you know. You go back. All right. So
go.
like the idea that we should leave, I think is it doesn't make sense. Like to say that. Thank you for the bits. Oh, thank you so much. Wow, that's a lot. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Oh, thank you for coming in. They're not the real David Pacman, are you?
Yes,
That'd
I
be
am.
Weird.
I'm here.
Whoever you are, thank you for stopping in.
I'm the real David Pacman.
And also, nice breath. Thank you also for coming in.
No, it's me.
If you're, and then let's see.
No, it's really me.
convincing humility. Yeah, please don't fucking do shit. There's no real data that suggests they make a difference. Right. I mean, the
I
data.
might be banned for impersonation.
The data that is my mouth like really ugly. Really, wipe it off. Sorry. It really is David. Oh, if it really is David, how are you? It's nice to meet you.
Doing well, thank you.
Is it real David Pacman?
Yes.
I had a video of yours actually that I was gonna play earlier. The one you did of, if that is a real one, the one that he put up of like the Trump one. Maybe we'll play that in a bit.
Let's do it.
But I saw that this morning. It's on my list. I was actually thinking, I was like, I could play this, right?
All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Doing a little bit of donation there. Hope everybody enjoyed that. Found some actual political streamers, which I think is really, really great. Okay, so we did it. All right, let's continue. We are awaiting Donald Trump any moment now, expected to arrive. I think he will arrive at Bedminster in the next 7 to 10 minutes. And then probably speak around 8:45. That's my guess. Let's see what Carrie Lake has to say about all of this. She knows about telling the truth, doesn't she?
Left what hoped it played out and is actually playing out.
Well, thank you for having me, Eric. And you're right. This has never happened before. We've never had somebody as corrupt as Joe Biden sitting in the White House, somebody who would dare to take our government and weaponize it against his rival, the front runner in the next presidential race. And he's so afraid, Joe Biden is, because the truth is starting to unfold about him, what he's been up to, what his criminal family has.
Trump is involved in unprecedented presidential wrongdoing, and they're talking about Joe Biden. These people are parodies of themselves.
Allowing the fake news media to go after that and cover it. He's throwing this detour and pushing these bogus charges against President Trump. I was in Miami today. I was blown away by the level of support and pure.
There were reportedly a few hundred people there, maybe 1,000 based on media reports.
Much they had filled. They were wearing their Trump shirts, their Trump hats, waving flags. The people love President Trump. He's a man of the people, and we know a bogus, fake, phony witch hunt when we see it.
Yes. Completely fake, phony witch hunts carried out at completely different levels of the justice system, state and federal, carried out by completely unrelated investigators and prosecutors who have nothing to do with each other. Don't you understand, guys? The entire New York Alvin Bragg thing is a witch hunt. And also, the entire Washington, D.C. Jack Smith investigation is a witch hunt. And also, the completely unrelated Georgia investigation by Fani Willis is also a witch hunt. And it is all being orchestrated by Joe Biden. At a certain point, you have to just apply some colloquial version of Occam's razor and say, maybe Trump actually has habits of doing things incorrectly. Maybe he doesn't care about the law. At some point, you've got to ask the question. Haley says, LOL, except Trump weaponized his government after his rivals. Oh, the projection is blistering. Blistering. Why wouldn't the MAGATs be rioting if they think this is corruption? Maybe they've been lying. Yeah, who knows what the MAGATs actually think at any particular point in time? It's essentially impossible to know. They're in a complete and total fantasy world of their own creation. Let's listen to a little bit of what's going on Right Side Broadcasting.
You got the Trump trading cards, love that. Birch Gold, love them. The Wellness Company, love them. But we also have our viewer, who we love more than anything. So go to our website.
All right, so there's Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend talking about things. CBS News is covering what took place earlier. Here is Fox News Now. Let's listen.
Before the 13th Amendment was ratified and all enslaved people in America were declared free. America is a promise of freedom, liberty, and justice. The story of Juneteenth, as we celebrate it, is the story of our
Very important, and we will be following up about Juneteenth. In fact, by the way, we are going to be off for Juneteenth. It's something we have never done at the David Pakman Show before, but we are now we are taking it seriously as a holiday, and we are going to be off. In part, it's also because I will be traveling to a wedding, so that's going to be realistically also a factor. I do have to admit that. Tristan says, this just in, Trump demands answers as to the oranges of the indictment. I would want to see the oranges as well. Let's listen to a few voicemails that have been coming in about this stream.
Hey, sir, did you see that Kevin's tit supported Ron DeSantis and Trump went bananas?
Yeah, for people who don't know, the governor of Oklahoma, Kevin's tit, announced that he would be supporting Ron DeSanctimonious. And Trump flipped out, saying not only did DeSanctus only win thanks to Trump, Tit also only won thanks to Trump. So it's truly a mess. It's truly a mess. Let's see what else we've got.
Hi, David. I can't help but notice that you're wearing glasses now. Just thought I'd bring that up.
That is true. I am currently wearing glasses. That is absolutely the case.
Hey, David, it's Tommy. Everybody is talking about this indictment, but, maybe it's just a distraction because what we should all really be talking about is Obamagate.
I agree.
Don't come at me with you don't know what Obamagate is. Everybody knows what it is, and it's the crime of the century, and this is just a political witch hunt.
I agree. This is all really a cover-up for Obamagate, which we still don't know what it is. But I'm sure we will someday find out. I think that's probably the case.
Hey, David. It's Angie in Milwaukee. As I was sitting at work today and listening to all the news about Trump's arraignment, I thought to myself, how has this country changed this much in just my lifetime? I was born the day before President Nixon gave his resignation speech.
Wow.
How, since that date, have we now come to where, despite the fact that our president is kind of caught red-handed, he's still saying he's not guilty?
Oh, Trump's not going to ever admit to wrongdoing. Trump's never apologized for anything in his life. It's not going to start now. Kevin K. Bragg brings up a good point. The guy who needs cue cards to remember his name is the mastermind behind this massive conspiracy. Yeah, you know, I can't figure out, is Biden completely senile and an invalid and doing nothing? Or has he found a way to mastermind multiple unrelated indictments against Donald Trump and is controlling everything? Like, which is it exactly? Please tell me which of the two it is. Let's see. What else do we have?
Hey, Dave, I know this is a repetitive voicemail, but maybe you'll catch it on live. Explain to me how it is not biased and political for your party to insist.
What party? I'm not a Democrat. What party is this guy talking about? I don't care about the Democratic Party.
That only a Democratic judge should oversee the arraignment.
I haven't heard anybody saying that. I don't think anyone has a problem with a so-called Republican judge overseeing the arraignment. I think the issue is that it's a Trump-appointed person. This call is off the rails. Okay, I'm going to move on because it's just so bonkers. Okay. How do they explain the fact that Trump, who took out the sitting DOJ in his presidency with a new hand-picked Trump director of the DOJ, was weaponized by Joe Biden? Not sure I totally understand, but none of what they're saying makes sense. Friendly reminder, if you see ads for Trump currency online, flag it as a scam. Let's see what else we have. Gasman says, love your work, David. My friend ran into you at a coffee shop a few weeks ago. Had a conversation with you about your appearance on the Lex Friedman show. Bummed I wasn't with him. Oh, yeah. Your friend said, if my friend knew I ran into you, my friend would be going nuts right now. So, well, listen, this happens. This happens. I was having a cortado. You know, I have to admit, I have been starting the transition off of the cappuccino over to the cortado, at least as far as afternoons are concerned. I prefer less milk. It's not a lactose intolerance thing or anything like that. It's just where I'm going at this point in time. I've been going in the direction of the cortado. Less milk, folks. Less milk, please. People asking what it is. Charlie says, David, I haven't heard Bag of Mangoes in ages. Was it pulled when Diamond passed away? No, and Bag of Mangoes will be on the Spotify album coming up very soon. Did Luke Beasley make it out okay? Yes, he did. He made it out of Miami just fine. Will his team have prepared this evening's rant, or is Trump going entirely off the cuff, or a mix? I presume it will be a mix. There is a prompter up, as you can see, so there will at least theoretically be a teleprompter for Trump. If Trump was DNA tested, what are the odds it will match some unsolved crimes? Oh, I don't know. I don't even want to get into that. That's a scary question. Welcome to Byron Taylor and Desiree DeLong, both using the coupon code indicted again. Ladies and gentlemen, you have the opportunity today to sign up on my website with the heretofore unannounced coupon code indicted again. Simply, and folks, I hate to say this, the right understands this. The right understands that the way they win is by actually funding a media ecosystem. You go to joinpacman.com, the coupon code indicted again, and it just crumbles the price down to pennies so low, neither Rudy Giuliani nor Alan Dershowitz want me to say it out loud because it is just so crazy. It is just so crazy. Thanks also to Jason Sickmeyer for gifting another membership. If you want a free membership, listen carefully, please. If you want a free membership, go to davidpakman.com/free membership. Do not email me. The email will be deleted. Okay? If you want a free membership, one of these that's being gifted, go to davidpakman.com/free membership. It's super simple. Super simple stuff. And thanks to Fang Duster and Goth Geek for the Twitch Prime subscriptions. Let's do a couple more super chats. Trump will be speaking soon. He's just arrived. Are other candidates on Troth Central? How will Trump handle them campaigning on his turf? I have no idea who's on Troth. Couldn't tell you. Do I think on some level this is politically motivated? Of course. That's probably why it's a good idea that if you have enemies and haters, don't do illegal powerful messagery. Thank you for all your effort with all this coverage, says Phoenix Matthias. You're a gentleman and a scholar, David. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We are standing by moments away from Trump. Voicemails keep pouring.
Hi, David. I have a request for you and your show. So Jacob Chansley or Angeli, the Q Shaman, we all know who he is. He's been released.
Why does this caller sound like he's underwater?
From prison and apparently has a profile on Backstage website seeking work as an actor.
I don't even want to get into that. It's not. I don't even want to get into that.
Hey, David, Oli from Dallas. Remember when former president and now criminal defendant Trump altered a weather map? I think this was back in 2019.
Yeah.
Now, I honestly believe that, if Joe Biden, and I mean, I don't think he would ever do this, but if he ever altered a weather map, he would be impeached on the spot. But yeah, I thought that, that was a crazy time. And
yeah, there have been so many of these insane things that it's actually hard to remember all of them. It's really, really wild. There is a helicopter. As I predicted, Trump expected to speak more like 8:45 now. Trump is at Bedminster and will be speaking momentarily. Thank you to Texas Bearclaw for the Twitch Prime subscription. There's no better thing to do than to take a few bucks from Jeff Bezos and send them our way. I also want to say thank you to Mark Marquette, who just signed up at joinpakman.com using the coupon code Indicted Again, which is an insane coupon code. And I am a little worried that the website is going to collapse because so many people are trying to sign up right now. But we're gonna work on keeping the website up as strongly, absolutely as strongly as we can. Okay, let's take a listen, see what's being said.
Pled not guilty in all counts and was released basically with limited travel or limited restrictions, and in terms of no restrictions on travel, and he could not talk to any of the
witnesses,
other defendants in the case,
and witnesses.
That was. I'm just kind of going over some notes here. Just make some programming notes also here. If you
okay. A big thank you to Nissa Hartman, Mike Roberts, Alan Greenfield, Brian Pajak, and Emily Salter signing up at joinpakman.com. I will advise people the website is hanging by a thread, and we may genuinely run out of memberships, which would just be insane. People don't talk about it, but the tanker crash that took out I-95 was suspiciously close to Four Seasons total landscaping. Coincidence? I will look into that. I have a video I took of a Fox host pronouncing Truth Social as Troth Social. I'll tweet it at you. All right. Thanks. Okay, we read this one already. Very, very good. Folks, you haven't missed the speech yet. Trump is about to speak. He just recently arrived at Bedminster, and he is about to speak momentarily. We have a couple other voicemails coming in.
David, sir, very strong stream, I must say.
Thank you.
Live stream. Is there any way that we can make the Republican voters realize that the party that they have been voting for is actually the opposite of what they claim to be? Because they're not pro-life, actually. They're not pro-family. They're not law and order. They're definitely not personal responsibility. That
Listen, here's my answer whenever people ask me this type of thing, and Donald Trump has now just arrived alongside here where he will be speaking. Of course, there is a way to convince these people. Listen, cult members are sometimes deprogrammed. So, of course, there is a way. The practical question that I have for you is it easier to deprogram cultists or find people who already agree with us and just convince them to vote? I believe that the latter is easier. And that's why I believe that is a better strategy for winning. As a just sort of like, you want to try to convince some people, by all means, it can be done. But I don't believe that it is a strategy. Palisade, Try iGamer, and I Cannot Stop Twinkling have just re-upped Twitch Prime subscriptions, which I really appreciate. It is being pointed out that Melania has been missing for a while. I don't really care about this, but people keep asking about it, so I researched it a little bit. The reports are that after Trump was found liable for sexual assault, Melania essentially tried to renegotiate their financial arrangement. And the reporting is Trump gave her a bunch of money not to more formally separate, but that they basically live completely separate lives. She made a very milquetoast public statement about how she supports Trump's run, but that essentially it is, sort of like they have an arrangement and it involves money. And that's the story with it. Folks, we are experiencing massive membership dumps on the website. I want to thank Jennifer Netherly, Jason Greathouse, Scott Vetter, Denny Morissette, Caroline Jones, Erica Davis, Douglas Maloney, Sparrow Suleiman. There is Eric Trump, Janice Spears, Alana Adams, Bri Kelly, and Nicholas Dodson, putting us at 46. The coupon code is indicted again. And if you're not currently in a position to subscribe, I have free memberships available at davidpakman.com/free membership. If you type it plural, it won't work. It's singular, davidpakman.com/free membership. And I would invite you to make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. We are very close to making today the top day on YouTube of the year, surpassing March 29th, the day that Don Jr. attacked me. That's the next best. That's the next best day. So it's all happening. It's all happening, and Trump will be speaking momentarily. Eric Trump has just arrived, and we continue to receive more and more voicemails.
Hi, David. This is Devin from Easton, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
It's been bothering me how Trump's documents case ended up with Judge Cannon. I find the possibility to be...
All right, here he is. We will get back to that.
Here he comes. Here he comes. Here he is, President Trump, 45. Take a listen.
My prediction, folks, is that this speech will contain a bunch of the normal stuff Trump will talk about. Maybe he'll tell the Abdul story or the weightlifting story or any of those. But I believe it's going to be particularly unhinged. Big thank you to Terry Long, Danielle Stewart, Sarah Officer, Bill Dickhouse, Isaac Reisbord, and Julie Clark. Really appreciate everybody who's signing up and coming out today. It's just unbelievable. Hector Arazola is our newest member. This is the failed former president, twice indicted, twice impeached. Also, a big thank you to Bag Smasher, Von Julio, White Nervosa, Burnt Nacho, and Dickie Seamus, all signing up on Twitch. Those are some aggressive usernames. Let's listen. This is Donald Trump's post-arrest speech. Arrested a second time. You know how Trump says, I ran twice, I won twice? More like, I allegedly committed crimes twice, and they arrested me twice. And thank you, S. Prez, for gifting 50 subscriptions on Twitch. S. Prez has now gifted 3,836 subscriptions on Twitch and may be the first person ever to breach 4,000, which is just a stunning, stunning number. I expect this speech to be shorter than most Trump speeches. I don't think this will go 100 minutes. I don't believe it will be a Castro-like speech, but we can only wait and see. Eric says his only regret in life is not getting a membership and accessing the bonus show sooner. That I can empathize with. That I can absolutely empathize with.
Thank you, thank you.
Cult.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. It's a great honor to have you here. And today we witnessed the most evil and heinous abuse of power in the history of our country.
We did? Where?
Corrupt sitting president had his top political opponent arrested on fake and fabricated charges of which he and numerous other presidents would be guilty.
There is no evidence Biden did anything.
Election in which he is losing very badly.
Biden is winning most polls.
This is called election interference and yet another attempt to rig and steal a presidential election. More importantly, it's a political persecution like something straight out of a fascist or communist nation.
Fascist or communist.
This day will go down in infamy, and Joe Biden will forever be remembered as not only the most corrupt president in the history of our country, but perhaps even more importantly, the president who, together with a band of his closest thugs, misfits, and Marxists, tried to destroy American democracy.
Could we name the Marxists? I still can't find them.
And we will win bigger and better than ever before. Charging a former president of the United States under the Espionage Act of 1917 wasn't meant for this. An act for a crime so heinous that only the death penalty would do, and threatening me with 400 years in prison for possessing my own presidential papers, which just about every other president has done, is one of the most outrageous and vicious legal theories ever put forward in an American court of law.
Is it?
The Espionage Act has been used to go after traitors and spies. It has nothing to do with a former president legally keeping his own documents. As president, the law that applies to this case is not the Espionage Act, but very simply the Presidential Records Act.
Even William Barr, Trump's own former attorney general, has debunked this failed false notion.
Under the Presidential Records Act, which is civil, not criminal, I had every right to have these documents. The crucial legal precedent is laid out in the most important case ever on this subject, known as the Clinton Socks case.
A sock draw.
You know what that means? After leaving the White House, Bill Clinton kept 79 audio tapes in his sock drawer.
Sock drawer.
They included discussions of U.S. military involvement in
isn't the word drawer? I've never heard anyone call it that. It's bizarre.
Offense against Cuba. Recordings of President Clinton's conversations with all of the many foreign leaders at the time. Think of that. Sensitive facts about trade negotiations taken from presidential briefings. Discussions with the Secretary of State about conflict in Bosnia and much, much more. Very big stuff. Not only was Bill Clinton never even considered for criminal prosecution based on the tapes he took, but when he was sued for them, he won the case. Judge Amy Berman Jackson's decision states, under the statutory scheme established by the Presidential Records Act, the decision to segregate personal materials from presidential records is made by the president during the president's term and in the president's sole discretion. You're surprised to hear that, aren't you?
No.
Any normal administration, even an opposing one, would consider that to be the end, but not the corrupt Biden administration. The Sox decision, as it's known, also states, quote, the National Archives and Records Administration, or NARA, does not have the authority to designate material as presidential records. I don't have the authority. NARA does not have the tapes in question, and NARA lacks any right, duty, or means to seize control of them. This is law. The president enjoys unconstrained authority to make decisions regarding the disposal of documents. That's unconstrained to make that decision. Neither the archivist nor Congress has the authority to veto the president's decision. The Presidential Records Act does not confer any mandatory or even discretionary authority on the archivist to classify records.
Just so people know, all of this stuff went out the window when Trump obstructed, directed lawyers to lie, refused to turn documents over. It was no longer about the status of the documents alone. This has been widely debunked by Republicans and Democrats. This is nonsense, just so people know that.
Right to do so. It's an absolute right. This is the law. And that is something that people have now seen, and it couldn't be more clear. They ought to drop this case immediately because they're destroying the country.
Why? Why?
And this is why no other president, even those who kept far more documents than I, has ever been even investigated, let alone charged with a crime. Because the sham indictment put forward by the Biden administration included staged photographs of boxes at Mar-a-Lago, many people have asked me why I had these boxes. Why did you want them? The answer, in addition to having every right under the Presidential Records Act, is that these boxes were containing all types of personal belongings, many, many things, shirts and shoes and everything. As can be seen in the picture where someone, not me, I wonder who it might have been, dumped one of the very neatly arranged boxes all over the floor. They were full of newspapers, press clippings, thousands of pictures, thousands and thousands of White House pictures. The White House photographers, some are with us today. They took so many pictures, and we saved all of them, and they were in those boxes. Clothing, memorabilia, and much, much more. I hadn't had a chance to go through all the boxes. It's a long, tedious job. It takes a long time, which I was prepared to do, but I have a very busy life. I've had a very busy life. They make it more busy because you're always fighting.
Right. It's everyone else's fault.
And under the Sox decision, there seemed to be no rush. I wasn't in a rush because that decision was a law. The other picture that was so vile, you remember that one? It was angry and corrupt, was the photo staged by the FBI. And those that raided Mar-a-Lago, they were putting documents all over the floor. Remember that famous picture? All over, said confidential, said presidential, said all sorts of things. And it was supposed to be there like it was that way when they raided. It wasn't that way. They put them there, took the picture, and released it illegally to the press. They took my medical records, my passport, my birth certificate, and apologized. They even brought a safecracker. This is a professional safecracker they brought into Mar-a-Lago.
Safecracker.
They broke into my safe, and you know what they found? Nothing. There was nothing there.
They spied on my campaign.
Zero. According to the Presidential Records Act, which was a big deal, I was supposed to negotiate with NARA, which is exactly what I was doing until Mar-a-Lago was raided by gun-toting FBI agents. I have security tapes of it. I gave them security tapes of everything. In a flagrant violation of the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution, which protects the right.
There was, of course, no violation of the Fourth Amendment. We've looked at that extensively. I have to give Trump credit. He's doing new material. He's not just doing his old stories. I mean, that's something.
You covered very well, I must say. Very well. I'm not the one who thinks I'm above the law. I'm the one that followed the law. I'm the only one.
We will see.
It's Joe Biden and his corrupt Department of Injustice who think they are above the law. Never before have the two standards of justice in our country been more starkly revealed. Joe Biden had troves of classified documents from his time as vice president and even as a senator, which was completely and totally illegal. In fact, other senators heard about it. Dick Durbin heard about it. You have to see his response. There's no way that's totally illegal. Took him as a senator out of a skiff. They were shocked when they found out. They actually thought it was impossible to do. Biden sent 1,850 boxes to the University of Delaware, making the search very, very difficult for anybody. And he refuses to give them up, and he refuses to let people even look at them. And then they say how he's behaving so nicely. Many of Biden's classified documents were...
You guys noticing Trump's doing a really weird breathing thing where at the end of a sentence, he kind of makes a weird face and does an in-breath with a sneer?
How many times the friends of ours from China reviewed those documents? Chinatown, D.C. Others were unsecured at his so-called Penn Biden Center in Washington, which paid Biden approximately $1 million a year. The money supposedly coming from China, and still other classified documents were strewn all over his garage floor, where his now famous Corvette is stored. He's so proud of that car. There was no security, and the door was left open most of the time. It was open. All of those classified documents, all of those documents strewn all over the floor, piled up like junk. Unlike me, who had absolute declassification authority as president, Joe Biden as vice president had no authority to declassify and no right to possess the documents. He had no right. Instead of falling under the Presidential Records Act, Biden's actions fell under a much stricter Federal Records Act, which has very, very tough criminal penalties. Yet nothing happens to Crooked Joe. Nothing happened. Have you heard anything about the big search for his documents? No, only me.
He turned him over.
Most and famously of all, Hillary Clinton set up an illegal private server in her basement. You never heard this story.
Hillary Clinton was careless but was investigated and did not appear to have committed any crime. She also cooperated with the investigation.
Clinton foundations or whatever. Hillary stored vast quantities of classified and sensitive information on her illicit server. Some of it happened to leak. It leaked into Anthony Weiner's computer. Remember Anthony Weiner?
What?
Into his computer. You don't want to be on his computer. And all of it was illegal because thankfully she was never president. She didn't have the powers to declassify. Thank you. Obama. She didn't have the powers to declassify. It's a big difference, and neither did Joe. You know, Joe didn't have. Do you mind? Have a drink.
Here we go. Oh, boy.
It's a little bit cooler than it was, but it's pretty hot out here. Thank you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Great birthday.
Tomorrow is Trump's birthday, I believe.
Nice birthday, isn't it?
Yeah, tomorrow.
And we will ban men. Nice birthday. Wonderful birthday. They were saying happy birthday. I was with Eric and Laura, the kids. Happy birthday, Grandpa. Happy. And I said, oh, great. I just got charged with, they want 400 years approximately.
This guy's
if you add
worried.
them all up, a fake 400 years. Oh, thank you, darling. That's so nice.
He is worried.
It's a wonderful birthday. We're going to make it into the greatest birthday of all. We'll make it into the greatest of all. When caught,
Dear
Hillary
God.
then deleted and acid washed. Nobody does that because of the expense, but it's pretty conclusive.
She bleached it.
33,000 emails in defiance of a congressional subpoena.
I heard that she OxyCleaned him.
Was there, and she decided to delete, acid wash, and then smash and destroy her cell phones with a hammer. And then they say, I participated in obstruction? No, think of it. That's called obstruction.
She reportedly took a Tide stick to a USB drive.
As that. She did this in the face of everything, and yet nobody did anything about it. The FBI and the DOJ protected her, did not issue subpoenas, did not use a grand jury, did not execute search warrants, and then the corrupt head of the FBI, James Comey, declared no reasonable prosecutor would bring a case. Can you believe it? And that was just one of many items. Hillary Clinton broke the law, and she didn't get indicted.
It's not what law enforcement does.
Joe Biden broke the law, and in many other ways we're finding out, and so far has not gotten indicted. I did everything right, and they indicted me. But, you know, we're serving as a great example. In the case of Bill Clinton's national security advisor, remember that? Sandy Berger. He was caught stealing classified documents from the National Archives.
In his pants.
Very big ones, very important ones, by stuffing them in his pants.
There you go.
That's pretty. And putting them also in his socks. And he destroyed them and cut the tape with scissors, cut them all up. What Berger did was highly illegal, but he was given nothing, no jail time, nothing. Nothing happened. There are countless other examples. Bill Clinton, who I happen to like, hard to believe, right? Before I did this, I was actually quite friendly with him. Nice guy. They should have used him a little bit more as an advisor on the 2016 election. He said, you know, you better get to Wisconsin, you're going to lose. No, we're not. You better get to Michigan, you're going to lose. No, we're not. They did.
Sure.
Bill Clinton lost the nuclear codes, and absolutely nothing was done about it. He lost the nuclear codes.
Is this the laundry bit?
The George W. Bush White House lost 22 million emails, a record. NARA cannot assure complete transfer of any of the Bush records. A document shredding truck was spotted on the way to Dick Cheney's house. Can you imagine? Hillary Clinton took hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of furniture, china, flatware, rugs, and more from the White House, and she wasn't prosecuted. How about that one? She took the furniture and the china.
This is nuts.
How about if Trump did that? You think Trump would have a little problem? The horrific violations of my rights by crooked Joe Biden's weaponized Department of Injustice are unthinkable. It's unthinkable what's happened. So bad for our country. Democrats all, they lawlessly pierced my attorney-client privilege with lawyers. What they did to lawyers, what they have...
It's called the crime fraud exception. We've already talked about it.
...for our lawyers. They've done things that were absolutely horrible and unthinkable. The leaking has been unbelievable and highly illegal. They leak. We've learned more about, from the Washington Post, New York Times, about the DOJ's boxes hoax. It's a boxes hoax. Than from prosecutors themselves. We want to read about it. You pick up the Washington Post, which is not doing well, or you pick up the New York Times. But they'll do better now because of these things. You know, this is the only way they survive, but they'll end up dying. But it's not supposed to be that way. We don't want to learn from the Times. We don't want to learn from leaks. We want to learn from the people we're supposed to learn from. It's like a leaking sieve.
Doesn't know who they are.
But we learned nothing about the Biden bribery scheme or special counsel Robert Hur's investigation. Robert Hur is doing the Biden investigation. He's a very respected, very nice person. Very nice person. Mine's not such a nice person. Mine's a deranged lunatic, which are many times the magnitude of ours in both number and severity. That's the prosecutor that they gave. He has found nothing. He totally exonerated Mike Pence. I'm happy about that. Mike did nothing wrong, but he happened to have classified documents in his house. But they exonerated him, and Biden is a different story. I mean, so much. You have to really think about what I said as a senator. He took all of those documents. It's unprecedented. The prosecutor in the case, I will call it our case, is a thug. I've named him Deranged Jack Smith.
Wow, clever.
I wonder what his name used to be, Jack Smith. It sounds so innocent, doesn't it? Jack Smith. What's his name? Jack Smith. He's a very nice man. He's a behind-the-scenes guy. But his record is absolutely atrocious. He does political hit jobs. He's been known to viciously arrest a certain governor. You know the governor, Bob McDonnell of Virginia, and absolutely ruined his life and the life of his family. All these wonderful.
Let me know in the chat, are you finding this convincing of Trump's innocence?
8-0 by the Supreme Court. He destroyed that man and he destroyed that family. And by the way, I will tell you, I'm here and I love you all.
You're convinced, yeah.
And we can take it. But what these thugs have done to my family is a disgrace. I will tell you that. And I say it to all of the fake news because there's a lot of it back there. What they did to my family and that young man right there, he's answered more subpoenas than any human being in the history of the world. And you know what? They have nothing after all of those subpoenas. Literally thousands of them. Congress.
Honestly, and I'm not joking around, I would rather Trump explain why there's a chandelier in his bathroom and why, given that he's so wealthy, his bathroom looks so terrible. So my bathrooms are way nicer than that Mar-a-Lago bathroom. It's crazy. Money really can't buy class.
These are serious people, but what he's done to my family, what they have done to my family is horrible. He also tried to railroad John Edwards on a completely bogus legal theory that didn't hold up in court. It's no wonder this raging lunatic was shipped off to The Hague to prosecute war criminals using globalist tribunals, not beholden to the Constitution or the rule of law. Two things Jack Smith clearly disdains. You take a look at this guy, he looks like a thug. But then I watched him make a speech the other day and he was trembling because it wasn't his territory. He feels much safer in the inner sanctums of the Department of Injustice where he can be in his room and scream at people. He's a raging and uncontrolled Trump hater, as is his wife, who also happened to be the producer of that Michelle Obama puff piece. It was total puff piece. Obama, this is the guy I've got. Don't forget this persecution is being done by the same weaponized agencies that for 7 years have been running illegal psychological warfare campaigns against the American people, much as if they were trying to destabilize a foreign country. From the Russia hoax to the no collusion.
I don't think prosecutors need to get involved in destabilizing the U.S. Trump did enough of that.
51 lying intelligence officers. How about them? They said it's Russia disinformation, and they knew it wasn't, which made about, according to some of the great pollsters that are right here, made from anywhere from a 10 to 17-point difference. And yet we still got more votes than any sitting president in history in the second election.
What about Biden?
And we actually did much better in the second election than we did in the first election.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
The fake dossier paid for by the Democrats. How about the fake dossier?
Okay, so now he's going into his normal routine.
Hello, darling. How are you? When they read about that, it wasn't easy at all. Spying on my campaign. We caught them spying on my campaign. The FBI, Twitter files, and so much more. It's all been a battle of disinformation, one thing after the other, and all to protect the radical left misfits. It's also no coincidence that these charges against me came down the very same day. Evidence revealed Joe Biden took a $5 million bribe from Ukraine. Took a $5 million bribe.
It's a bit of a stretch to say evidence revealed that.
The Justice Department don't even want to talk about it. They showed something on television tonight. It had zero time on the three major networks, zero. But
because it's bogus.
Had almost all the time. I think I had 351 minutes. They had no minutes. Okay? I think a lot of people are going to vote. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to vote. I will tell you, I just left Miami, and I've never seen love in the streets like that.
There were like a few hundred people.
I've never seen love like that because they know what we all go through. They know what we've gone through, and they see it, and they're smart. And, you know, many of those people coming from Cuba, Venezuela, other countries, they've seen this happening to their countries. I used to say that The United States, if it keeps going this way, it's going to be Venezuela on steroids. And now we're buying oil from Venezuela. Can you believe it? We have more liquid gold under our feet than any other nation, but we're buying tar from Venezuela. And we're refining it in Houston. The dirtiest, worst oil probably anywhere in the world. And we're refining it. So you can imagine what's going up in the air. And our beautiful stuff we're not taking out of the ground and making a lot of money and paying off debt and reducing taxes still further, which we were in the process of doing. They want to distract from the real espionage and the real crime, so let's use President Trump to do so. Let's go out and let's indict President Trump so they don't talk about the $5 million bribe. Just yesterday, Senator Grassley revealed that the Burisma executive who allegedly paid the bribe reportedly has Crooked Joe on tape. They have 17 tapes, I understand. He must be a nice guy to deal with, right? The guy from Burisma, nice company, they got him and Hunter on 17 different tapes, supposedly. But the FBI isn't showing them. Remember, they impeached me for asking a simple question about Biden's corrupt dealings in Ukraine, and now they see that once again, I was right. I was totally right.
This actually had some focus at the beginning. It's gone completely sideways now.
Totally protected. Republicans all, you must finally get tough. You've got to get tough. You got to get tough, and you got to show them. When you arrest your leading political opponent, we no longer have a democracy. When people are allowed to pour through our open borders and our elections are rigged, our country is in very serious trouble. When inflation is allowed to rage, when energy independence and dominance, we had independence and dominance. We were going to be soon very, very dominant. Within 6 months, we were going to dominate the whole world with energy, make a fortune. We were going to be paying off debt and lowering taxes at a level that nobody's ever seen.
Just rambling now. Yeah, this is meaningless rambling in case anybody's just turning this on.
Taxes spiral upward in an uncontrolled way. When murderers are allowed to roam, these are horrible killers, murderers are allowed to roam the streets of our Democrat-run cities unchecked.
By the way, interesting report today about the dramatic reduction in crime in New York City, which already has a lower crime rate than Oklahoma City.
There is no crime, but murderers go out and nobody ever even comes and knocks on their door, and they know they're there, and they know their rooms, and they know their locations, and they're roaming our cities all over. And some of them are coming in right now through our borders. But then you have a nation that, as we are, is in serious, serious decline. We have a nation in serious decline. If the communists get away with this, it won't stop with me. They will not hesitate to ramp up their persecution of Christians, pro-life activists, parents attending school board meetings, and even future Republican candidates, which they do. We must end it permanently, and we must end it immediately. Now that the seal, so important, is broken, the seal is broken by what they've done. They should never have done this. This was an unwritten rule. You just don't, unless it's really bad. But you just don't. But the seal is now broken. In addition to closing the border and removing all of the criminal elements that have illegally invaded our country, making America energy independent and even dominant again, and immediately ending the war between Russia and Ukraine. I'll have it ended in 24 hours.
Don't know how, but sure.
I will appoint a real special prosecutor to go after the most corrupt president in the history of the United States of America, Joe Biden, and the entire Biden crime family. Name a special
People are trying to leave. Did you see that?
And all others involved with the destruction of our elections, our borders, and our country itself. They're destroying our country. And when I'm reelected, and we will get reelected, we have no choice. We're not going to have a country anymore. I will totally obliterate the deep state. We will obliterate.
Going conspiracy on us.
And we know who they are. I know exactly who they are.
Tell us.
They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. It's very simple.
That's what it is, yeah.
They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you.
That
they
makes
want you
sense.
silent. And I am the only one that can save this nation because you know they're not coming after me. They're coming after you. And
No.
I just happen to.
They're coming after Trump for the things he allegedly did.
On November 5th, 2024, justice will be done. We will take back our country and we will make America great again. Sure. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank
Wow.
you. Thank you very much. Great job. Thank you.
There you go. All right. I mean, so Trump first arguing that he had the absolute right to take everything he's accused of taking, seemingly acknowledging he did it, then saying other people committed crimes too and they haven't been charged. So a couple different arguments, really unbelievable.
Well, there it is.
Trump lumbering off. Wow, what an incredible, incredible speech, as all of you clearly noticed. Well, what can we say? What can we say? More or less what we expected. Not exactly what I would call compelling legal arguments made. Not exactly compelling legal arguments is where I think we will leave it. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. It's been a long day, multiple streams. I hope you check out the podcast. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you're following on Twitch. We do this stuff all the time. And I really appreciate everybody here, meeting so many of you, people dropping in messages and saying different things. It's been quite a day. And much like Trump, I am now going to lumber off, if you will allow me. All right, everybody, we'll see you tomorrow. Big program, much to prepare. See you then.